It's morning. You just turn on the coffee machine and the morning brew scent wafts towards your barely awake form. Today is going to be a good day. You can feel it. Then, just as the modern ritual instructs you to do, you turn on the morning news. A child was killed today. Stay tuned for the details. And this is the crazy part. You actually stay tuned. Now, you might say that we become so desensitized to this type of a news story that it doesn't actually affect the quality of our mornings. Take a step back for a second. You hear of the murder of a child, a life that had just begun to be, and it doesn't even ruin your day? In fact, not only does it not ruin your day, but you actually want to hear the gory, gritty details while you go about your morning routine. I'm here to tell you there is good news out there. Millions of good deeds are committed each and every day, enough to make the world smile 10 times over. Yet we fixate on the poignant and the pervasive, the dastardly and the destructive, the monstrous and the morbid. This world sucks up bad news like a sponge. A sponge so caked in bacteria, so grime infested, so drastically dirty that it is baffling that we continue to use it. This sponge is not clean. It infests the internal and degrades the eternal. Yet every day we take this derelict sponge and scrub it into our minds, barely cognizant that this atrocity is infiltrating our subconscious for the long haul. But there is hope. In fact, it is hope that can save the day and our minds. The mental anguish is not just a theory. A psychologist by the name of Dr. Graham Davey suggests that violent media exposure can exacerbate or contribute to the development of stress, anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. And this negativity may be affecting us on a more permanent level. According to some psychologists, exposure to negative and violent media may have serious and long-lasting psychological effects beyond simple feelings of just pessimism or disapproval. Susan Babel, a psychotherapist who specializes in trauma and its effect on humanity, states that constant exposure to trauma can derail our ability to cope healthily and hinder our ability to return to a relaxed normal state. She continues, inundation of news and trauma can also lead us to what is known as disaster fatigue, making us less concerned and more apathetic and feeling a diminished sense of urgency about the crisis at hand. Every time we experience or hear about a traumatic event, we go into stress mode. We might go numb or have an overactive fear response to the perceived threat. Our physiology is triggered to release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, Babel said. Imagine that. Adrenaline coursing through our veins while we sit on the couch. Alexandra Patia of CNN states that hearing about traumatic events can dismantle the mental and social frameworks that support a healthy mind. An article that appeared in Greater Good, the online magazine of the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley, written by Sophie Janique, states the amount of negative TV people watch correlates with the degree to which they see the world as a dangerous place. This is known as mean world syndrome. Research on inspiring media, by contrast, suggests that exposure to elevating media may have the potential to shift our perception of the world towards a kind world syndrome. What an important shift to believe that the world in which we inhabit is a good, nurturing, and healing place compared to a dangerous and depressing one. Walking out the door will no longer be morose and menacing. It will be enticing and exciting. There are ways to diminish the internal threat until a more permanent solution emerges. Alexandra Patia suggests setting a time limit on how much you look at the news or go on social media can create the space and time for you to soothe your nervous system's stress response and return to normal. This may require turning off push notifications on your phone or setting aside specific times to check world events. To soothe the nervous system, you can use stress management techniques such as exercise, spending time with friends and family, and relaxation techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, and yoga. Sophie Janique states that when we select inspiring content on TV and films or through social media, we're not just making ourselves feel good in the moment. We're nurturing our instincts for compassion and kindness. So what can we do to create a more positive news agenda? Support it in your day-to-day life by being a spreader of good news. If our society begins to put value on the inherent goodness of man Imagine what we could become. Positivity is progress, and progress is certainly positive. Stop spreading the dirty news, the dirty details, and start sharing the good news. They say bad news travels like wildfire and good news like molasses. Personally, I'd rather have something sweet than something that's burnt to a crisp. Change is not only attainable, but actually pretty simple. Anyone can be a part of this optimistic movement. There is a universal tool that could change the entire global outlook. A tool that could create more nurturing, kindness, and caring. A tool that has the ability to highlight the inherent goodness of mankind. And everyone has access to this tool, although it may be lost within your couch cushions. Pick up your remote and help save the world.